All right, welcome back to Big Bit of Wrap Up on Nebraska Public Media. We are joined by the head football coach of the University of Nebraska in his second year, Matt Rhule. Thanks for doing this, Coach. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I want to tell you a quick story. We're out at dinner, my wife's birthday, and one of the waiters walks up and says, "I'm so excited, Michael. I can't wait for the season. I've taken off all the Saturdays and the Friday night." And I said, "That's a lot of money you're losing." He goes, "I just got to see my Huskers." Do you ever get surprised about the passion of this fan base?
Yes, all the time, and in a good way, in a great way. Just, I think you get humbled when you hear how much this means to so many people, and but it's a great reminder, man. You might be out having dinner,
yeah,
but you say, "Hey, I better get back to work tomorrow because we have to produce a winner for all these people who care so much."
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't do it on purpose, but I talked to a lot of former players, and that speech you gave that went viral, talking about this is why we lose, incredibly popular with former players. Love to hear you say that stuff. Can you tell us what was going on in your mind when you were given that speech, and then how'd the practice go the rest of the way?
Well, the practice was great after that, and but I think that's what coaching is. I think coaching is just being a mirror. When things are great, telling them to keep going. When things are not good, putting it in the forefront so guys have a chance to correct it. And to me, it's not like we have to continue to lose. We don't have to lose. And so, what are the things causing us to lose? And sometimes there might be things that are physical, but so often for us, it's been getting to big moments and trying to do things that we're not trained to do. Trying to do things outside of really who we are, and that's trust. And the great Husker teams, they trusted themselves, they trusted their teammates, they trusted the process, and they're going to wear you down and find a way to win. And that day we were doing things that aren't us, and so I brought them back, and they've been really good ever since.
Is it easier to do because you have such a amount of veterans along with the young group as well? Is it easier to do because you have those guys who I'm sure are willing to talk for you?
Yeah, well, I think as the older players, they're used to those moments. They also have all the fun moments with me. Mm-hmm. And so when I do all of a sudden snap into that moment, they listen, they hear it, they correct it, and they move on. Because there's nothing personal about it, and it's never directed at anybody. It's just there's a standard that we want to uphold that was started way before us and will continue way after us. And when we're not adhering to that standard, whether it's me, staff members, or our players, we're going to correct it. And the great thing is, when you have that mindset, you believe that everything's within your control. There's no curse.
Yeah.
There's nothing like, hey, what's wrong? Hey, we have to do things just a little bit better. And I love the fact that our guys embrace that.
Yeah. One of the things we talk about a lot over these years has been convincing them that they can win. With all the close losses over these years, how do you do that? How do you take guys who have lost a bunch of games and then say to you, "Hey, you're a winner. You're going to win these games"?
Well, I think it's making sure that when things don't go right, like that day, mm-hmm. or when things do go right, always bringing it back to why. Like, why did these things happen? We didn't just fumble the ball. We fumbled the ball because we weren't holding it properly. And when you feel not powerless, when you recognize that you have the power to control your destiny, you have the power to determine if we win the turnover battle, the power to determine if we hit all of our assignments. I don't know, man. I think you feel control. And you can never control everything in football, but you certainly can control the things that you can. And whether that's your effort, whether that's your preparation, your technique. And so just getting our guys to completely buy into that, buying into the fact that, hey, we can help ourselves win. That's the key. And once we start winning, mm-hmm. as I tell them all the time, we're not going to win on 8/31. We've won all off season. We've won all camp. Now on game day, it's just a celebration of all the work that we've done.
Mm-hmm. One of the big changes for you, obviously, is Troy Daniel coming in as athletic director. How's that been? And has he gotten all 17 of those things done that you wanted early on?
And first of all, about those 17 things, Trevin, I was working with Trevin. He was always like, hey, let me know, kind of. Mm-hmm. So we kind of had a working list of, hey, things that, from my experience, from our experience, other places, that we could maybe update or we could redo, or just things we were working on. And so when Troy came in, when he asked me, I said, well, we've been working on a list. So I don't want everyone to think that I just walked in like, get these done. Yeah. But Troy's he's a tremendous leader, and I'm excited to follow him. And he's a tremendous friend. I mean, it's always great when you have someone in that position that is going to be there with you in the good times and the bad, and that you're going to ride the highs and lows with together. And he's got great experience. And he has great vision. He's not afraid to do hard things and take chances. And that's what we need. For us to get Nebraska athletics and Nebraska football to where we want it to be, mm-hmm. we have to be on the forefront, just like Coach Osborne was, like Coach Devaney was. They were doing things that no one else was doing at the time. And Troy's not afraid to do that.
You were the same way. And last year you did the helmet communication, knowing it's probably coming. Lane Kiffin called it a true game changer in the sport. Do you feel the same way?
No doubt, 100%. I think it's going to help you coach quarterbacks. I think it's going to help you develop them as you give them more options within the play calls. It's what they're going to be doing on Sundays, so why not do it on Saturdays? And we love it. We were prepared for it, and I think it'll really help Dylan and the rest of our quarterbacks.
You've done the single digits at other schools as well. Have you ever had such an imbalance in terms of only 1 on offense with 9 on defense?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Really?
It's usually more of a defensive thing. And,
Yeah.
to be fair, Ramir Johnson, could have probably had one. He was right there in the mix, but we just have a special group on defense. And you look at on offense, Jamal's come in and done a great job, but we have a lot of younger players on offense, guys with eligibility left. So I'm sure you'll look up in a couple of years and we'll have 4 or 5 of those guys, the Ja'Cory Barneys and those young kids coming up. They'll be single digit type guys. The great news for me is that there's about 20 guys we could have put in that position. I'd feel good about it. And, it's scary that, of those 10 guys, 9 of them, this is their last season of football. Only Malcolm comes back. So we'll have to do a great job of developing the rest of our team and that mentality as we go throughout this season to prepare for next season as well.
In many ways, the offensive line improved last year from what it was before. Now, havoc allowed was tough for you stat-wise because of the fumbles and the sacks and that kind of thing. How much was that on the offensive line when you look back? How much is that on the problems you had at quarterback?
I think on offense, anytime things aren't what you want, it's just kind of a mixture of everything. It really is. I thought our offensive line played well enough to win most of last year. When you're struggling to throw the ball, you really put a lot of pressure now on the offensive line because you're really only throwing it when you absolutely have to, and they're coming. And then when you go to run the football, people are bringing pressure. And so with Heinrich's development, with Dylan and Danny coming in, with the weapons we've added on the outside, you can call a run play, and if they come pressure, you can throw a hitch out there, and that guy might take it 60. It's really a modern day option football. It's just run pass option, and so we can do all those things now. And I think that allows our offensive line to be aggressive. I like what they've done with their bodies this year. I think it's going to be a really good group.
How do you feel about the tackle spot with Teddy going down? Obviously, do you feel you have good depth there?
Yeah, anytime you lose a starting left tackle, it's devastating. And we're blessed to have another starting left tackle on the roster just coming back from injury. But that was a blow. With that being said, we have some younger players we really trust. We have Gunnar Gatula, Grant Segrin, Jacob Hood's really starting to come on now as a transfer, and then you have guys like Lutovsky and Micah Mazuka who can go out into those if you ever needed to. But we trust Turner. We trust the guys behind him, and we'll just have to do a really good job of getting them comfortable and letting them play.
You've known Micah for years. When he came into the program, maybe he wasn't completely dialed in. How has he gone, and what are you seeing from him heading into the season?
Well, we want the same thing from Micah that we get from everybody else, and that's just growth. And so even every day when it might not be exactly what you want, if it's better than it was, then you're making progress. And I'm proud of Micah. He's done a really good job. It's a change. He played 4 years at other places where people had different expectations, and our expectation level here is, we treat the field the same as we treat the locker room, as the same way as we treat the classroom. And I'm not saying anything negative about those places, but there's high expectations here. And he's meeting them now, and he's doing a good job. And he loves football. He loves playing physical football. And so, we'll ride the highs and lows of the season together, but at the end of the day, he's a good person, I believe in.
It's one of the few times you can say somebody's nasty, and it's a true compliment.
There's no doubt he is.
He certainly is. Let me get into the secondary coach, John Butler, coming on. When you have a staff that's been together, new guy comes in, how has he kind of gotten with everybody else?
Well, John, because John's a veteran, he approached, I think, things the right way. Mm-hmm. He has so much experience, yet he came in and he just learned. He just learned the what. Hey, what do you guys do? He learned the how. And then he really tried to apply it to how do I teach this? And then what you see, because he came in so humbly, as you get into week 2, week 3, he and Tony working together. Tony's so great at this, like adding in tweaks and things that maybe he did in Buffalo or Houston or at Penn State, and really elevating what we do, schematically. And he's getting the best out of his players, which is, to me, what all great coaches do. And, we had a great secondary coach before. Yeah. We added a great secondary coach. And most importantly, we've got a lot of good players back there that'll benefit from John's knowledge.
How much has practice changed? How much has the development of young guys changed because analysts or extra coaches can work on the field with them?
It's night and day. You can go over on the scout team now, and you can have someone that coaches your position out there, Because what you want is you want guys to go over there and be deliberate and be intentional. And, even though I'm being the UTEP corner, I'm going to utilize great technique. I'm not going to just come out here and mail it in. And so we have really good players over there, and they're playing and they're developing because they're being held accountable by guys that are watching the tape with them and coaching them. So I think it's a game-changing decision in college football that'll allow us to coach guys better.
Jalen Lloyd obviously had a breakout year as a true freshman. Let's talk about what Ja'Cory Barney can be, both as a wide receiver and hopefully as a punt returner. That's me personally saying that.
Yeah, I think Ja'Cory, the sky's the limit for him. I mean, he's dynamic, he's explosive, he's courageous. He's just got to go do it in college. But I don't think there's going to be any moment that's too big for him. I think he's going to go out there and play, and he'll have an impact hopefully on special teams. He'll certainly have an impact on offense, and I think it's always great when you can bring a young player in who loves to practice. Not everyone has that. Like they might be a really good talent young player, but they don't quite understand what practice means at this level. But Ja'Cory, I mean, I have to slow him down and walk through. I mean, he just loves the game, and it shows with the way he plays.
What's your philosophy, and I guess EJ's philosophy as well, in terms of, are you going with the hot hand? Do you like having that workhorse back? Do you want to have somebody to come fill in? How if it was going to go perfect for you, how would you like your running back distributed?
Yeah, I think you'd love to have that, all-purpose workhorse back that, kind of totes the rock. You'd love to have a second person that complements them really well, and then probably a third down back or a scat back or someone who can have some jobs. We're blessed, I think, to have a bunch of guys that, are fighting for that role. And so maybe early in the season we play, more guys than maybe we're, normally used to. Maybe we don't. We still have some time here to make some decisions. But every time we sort of try to classify them, those guys battle back, and they all want to play, and they all bring something different to the table. Ramir's a great outside zone runner. He's like a great sub third down back. Emmett Johnson, the same thing, can run between the tackles outside, but can also protect and catch the ball. Gabe's a downhill back, slashing with great speed. Dante is just a powerful man that no one wants to tackle. Quentin Ives has long speed, and Maurice Mazuka is really a compact back that can find holes and make yards. So we learned last year you need depth. So, I'm not going to complain about it, but who is that guy right now? We still don't know.
People talk a lot about California guys, Texas guys. Give me a Philly guy. A Philly guy's going to fight.
Oh, there's no doubt. Give me a Philly guy any day.
No doubt about that. How much impact do you think you'll have when it comes to that $22 million we're talking about now? How much going to football and how much you ask for? How much impact do you think the head coach will have in that?
None. Yeah, none. I think a lot of that will be decided, really between the school, between the president, but probably between the the attorneys on campus, between Troy and his vision. It's so much further ahead than us. For me, I'm just kind of waiting to see how it all falls out. And to me, all that I ever care about when it comes to things like this is, hey, what are our competitors in the Big Ten getting? Are we getting the same? I don't want $1 more, but I certainly don't want $1 less.
Sure.
So, keep the playing field as equal as possible. Give us an opportunity to go recruit and retain talent, and let us try to coach it. So, but yeah, I think Troy does that's one of the great things. I don't have to worry about those things. I know he's on the cutting edge of that, and he's always in the know.
Was there one or two things that won Dylan the job, or was it just his overall performance?
I thought Dylan just had a great camp. I think the biggest thing, that kind of finally solidified it for him was as he continued to work on his feet and his drops and in the pocket. Things come so naturally to him, but you have to regiment yourself, and you have to throw on time. And when you have a guy who's as talented as he is, who also is willing to work on these things that might even seem like innocuous to him, like why are we worried about this? But he works at it. You have a chance to have a special player.
There was concern in basketball about the way Steph Curry shot, that people would be imitating him. Now you have a Patrick Mahomes that's throwing off balance and off level. Is that a concern at all when you see guys come in who are trying to be Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, definitely. Let me say this: if I can have Pat Mahomes,
that's right.
Okay. What you're really trying to get guys to do is you want to have all those things in their tool bag, so when they need them, they can pull them out. But you certainly don't want to do that all the time. So. Dylan's found a great balance, and now he's got to go play. I mean, there might be some games it's too far. This is a journey,
yeah.
And I look forward to walking that journey with him. But it's just a guy that's really blessed and has a lot of talent, but also learning how to discipline that talent, which he does really well.
We all know how tough this conference is and is going to be. When you look ahead to scheduling, do you think that old model of having one Power 4 or 5 team and a couple of G5s is going to be the standard, or would you rather just have 3 G5s because you're going to have a tough schedule in the
I think when they added in USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington, and we're playing 9 conference games, and the ACC and the SEC are playing 8.
Yeah.
You better not play a non-conference schedule, that makes things really hard for you to be successful. And so, what you're really looking for to me is, hey, if everyone in the Big Ten's doing it,
Yeah.
then we'll do it. But if they're not doing it, then why would we do it? And so, I know that sometimes that's hard to hear out there, but that's the truth. And I owe it to everyone to tell them the truth. Like, we want to go down the gauntlet of the Big Ten, and there's going to be years where, you have to go to Penn State one week and maybe to Michigan the next week. It's going to get a lot harder here scheduling in the Big Ten. What used to be a great season is going to be a different number nowadays. I think the old 11-1, 10-2 is now going to be 8-4, 9-3, and that's, I think, everyone in the Big Ten, as you go to those meetings, they recognize that and talk to it. So I think non-conference scheduling is something that every team in the Big Ten is looking at and trying to figure out, how do we do this right?
We're going to learn a lot, right? When they pick these 12 teams or 11 outside the G5 team, we're going to know how much they value that non-conference.
There's no doubt. And then I think a couple of years, if they do go to 14 teams, I think that'll change things as well. So there's been a lot of things talked about, and I think there's a lot of models that could happen. So again, I give my opinion, but I also stand back and, knowing that's what's so great about having Troy is that he's in all those meetings. He knows what's coming down the pike, and he'll make great decisions.
Some rapid fire ones. Biggest advantage now being on the west side, do you think it's going to be for you guys?
Well, I think early in the year it'll be the sun, the sun in other people's faces, and us being maybe a little bit cooler, and I think also people not being able to see a signal to our guys.
If you were in charge and you could set the number of how many on a roster in 2024 going forward, what would the best number, optimal number, do you think would be?
I probably would have 105, but then also have like a
taxi squad,
a JV team that could go play. I mean, how great would it be if we had Nebraska JV playing, Iowa State JV playing? I think that'd be so good for young players' development. Keep the walk-on program and give guys a chance to earn their way up.
So go back when we had the freshman team before, right? And
Absolutely.
Go back to that.
I think it'd be great.
That makes a lot of sense. Is there one item among the whole group of the family that's agreed on for dinner? Is there one specific one? Like spaghetti and meatballs, everybody loves that in my house. Is there one thing specifically for you guys?
Yeah, my whole family's gluten-free, so it's like,
oh, really?
Oh, yeah, the whole family. Julie, Bryant, Vivi, Leon is all gluten-free. So Julie makes this dish, chicken divan. Her mom made it. She makes it, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's like creamy chicken. I mean,
nice.
So I'd say that.
Yeah,
Indian food as well. If I want to make everyone happy, the oven downtown, I'll bring Indian food home, and no one complains.
There's so much good Indian food in Nebraska, which surprises people, I'm sure. If you're going to pick one to play, EA College Football 2025 or Bill Walsh 94?
Bill Walsh 94.
I know, wasn't it a great game?
Oh, give me Auburn 83 and let me have Bo Jackson run for touchdowns. Yeah. 100%.
Mine was 79 USC. That secondary, I also had Charles White. I had Marcus as a freshman. It was such a good team. Best advice Coach Paterno gave you that you've used as a coach?
That to hold the best players the most accountable. That was his gift. He wasn't a sheep killer. He wasn't a lamb killer. He didn't come in and treat the walk-ons terrible and let the best players do. I mean, he held the best players the most accountable. When you have that type of an organization, everybody says, hey, no one's untouchable. We all have a standard. I learned that from Joe, and not many coaches are willing to do that.
This is a tough question here, but if you guys would have kept your foot down in '94 in the Indiana game and some other games, you think you win a national championship? I make the argument every day.
Yeah, I think that really hurt us, right? But that's such a credit to who Joe is, right? Yep. That he was going to play those two. He's going to put the Matt rules in the game. But if that Indiana game again, especially, that was like 36 to something, and then they came back.
2 Hail Marys, basically.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of merit to that.
You often have a really fresh cut. Who's your barber? Where'd you find your barber? And how important is it to get that fresh cut going into a game?
Yeah, I got 2 barbers here in Lincoln.
Nice.
I got my man KB. So he's all razor cuts and he takes care of me. But as I get a little older and bald on top, I have another guy named Mitchell that cuts my hair scissor cut. So I might get shaped up by KB and a longer cut by Mitchell.
Second to last one. I've been watching Caleb Benning play since he was 4 or 5 years old. At this point, as a freshman here on campus, better than his dad was?
Yeah, so I mean, I've done a lot of research on that. I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to Ron Brown. I think within the building, there's really no doubt that Caleb's probably the better athlete. Just too versatile, not a one-trick pony. So I mean, Damon obviously was probably great, but I think Caleb's just significantly better.
Last thing, you look ahead to this season. What is a successful season? I know you're asked this a lot, but what would you say when it's all over and you look back? What's successful in 2024?
Well, I think we have to go to a bowl game. I think we have to play well at home in front of the fans. I think we have to turn around the turnover battle and win that. I think we have to get in some close games and win them to get that kind of off the conversation. And you just love to come into like November relevant. Last year, even in the divisions, people might not remember, but like coming down the stretch, like, hey, we win this game, we're going to play Iowa for the West. And so while it didn't work out great, we were at least kind of relevant-ish. I want to be relevant. I want to come down the stretch where we're fighting to go to the Big Ten championship game, where we're fighting to get into the college football playoff. That to me is what a great season is where you're not just coming early in the season, right? You're coming in October and you're coming in November because those games, they matter for something greater. And that's what we're working for.
Coach, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for doing this.